Baltic states prepare mass evacuations, fearing Russian attack, call it a precaution. When your neighbor's paranoia becomes your survival guide, expect to spend your vacation days in a bunker, not a beach resort.
Carlyle and Bank of America estimate US job growth slows to 15,000 a month. Call it realistic. When private equity and big banks become your economists, it's like trusting the fox to guard the henhouse. Expect feathers, not facts.
Retiree returns to workforce at 66 as inflation devours savings. Back to work. When golden years turn rusty, dreams of leisure are swapped for a name tag and a clock that never stops ticking.
Ozzy Osbourne embraces Pilates before his final concert, claims it's grueling.
U.S. media hesitates to label Gaza devastation as genocide despite 66,000 deaths. Media silence. When the truth is an inconvenient guest, it's easier to rearrange the narrative furniture than to face the music.
Madonna releases Bedtime Stories, the Untold Chapter Anniversary set promises nostalgia. When a pop icon digs through the archives, it's like a magician.
Jared Golden faces a fierce opponent and the stakes couldn't be higher. Golden Challenge. When even the middle of the road looks like a tightrope, balancing act becomes a euphemism for political survival.
Pole dancer. When the economy's as fragile as his ego. Even a slight breeze sends the approval ratings spiraling faster than a campaign promise.
IRS adjusts 2026 capital gains tax rates, calls it fairness. When the taxman tweaks the numbers, it's like playing a game where the house never loses. Fairness is just a convenient fiction.
Pet Kit Puramax 2 slashes price by $150, solves nothing. Cat economics. Automated litter boxes may promise convenience, but they can't clean up the existential mess of overpriced gadgets and feline indifference.
Trevor Lawrence trips, recovers, scores touchdown solo, crowd erupts. Sometimes the best way to reach the end zone is to stumble your way there. It's not the fall, it's the follow through.
Trade tango. When your economic promises dance with xenophobic fears, you end up with a tango that steps on more toes than it impresses. Naked mole rats harness CGS mechanism, enhance DNA repair, defy aging norms. When your spirit animal is a wrinkled rodent, you might just outlive your pessimism. Maybe there's wisdom in those skin folds after all.
BDSM drops new sludge goth metal track. Darkness never sounded so mainstream. Metal murmurs. When your music's more sludge than sound, at least you've got a niche. Just hope your fans can find it under all that noise.
Charlie XTX returns to studio after explosive feud over diss track. Harmony hard to find. Pop drama. When your beats drop harder than your friendships. Maybe it's time to question if the music industry is just a never-ending high school reunion.
Marjorie Taylor Greene breaks with GOP urges action against premium hikes. When even green pushes for healthcare sanity. You know the political weather's gone haywire. Maybe next she'll advocate for universal empathy, but don't hold your breath.
Gold approaches $4,000, investors weigh shutdown, wallets weigh less. Golden Reckoning.
Ten exercises resist fascism, but kettlebells won't topple dictators. Resistance workouts.
New Orleans inmate captured after 5 months lost of 10 escapees. 5 months of freedom ended not with a bang, but a whimper, proving that even a jailbreak ends up just being a temporary vacation from reality.
Bitcoin option traders bet on $140,000 rally after record-setting surge. Crypto gamble. In the world's most volatile casino, hope is the currency, and every speculative high is just a prelude to the inevitable roller coaster of dreams and delusions.
Zach Bryan's Bad News song enrages MAGA fans, stirs controversy. When a country tune sparks fury, it's proof that the real bad news is how easily offended some folks get over a melody and a message.
Political theater. When alliances are built on ego and spectacle. Every handshake becomes a tug of war, and loyalty is just a punchline in a never-ending reality show.
Israel bombs Iran for 12 days, then calls it deterrent. Middle East mayhem. When every explosion is a diplomatic footnote, peace becomes a ghost story told to children while grown-ups play with fire.
Farm bankruptcies surge with low crop prices. Trump mulls $14 billion bailout. When the solution to economic disaster is a bailout, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and calling it revolutionary healthcare.
Israel weaponizes paid ads to shape narratives, then calls it strategic communication. Ad wars. When truth is up for auction to the highest bidder, reality becomes a commodity bought and sold with a click, leaving ethics in the dust.
Amazon's October Prime Day boasts 137 hand-picked deals, but reality checks are scarce. When a mega sale screams genuine, it's like finding a unicorn in a Walmart. The true miracle is if you actually needed any of it in the first place.
Sabrina Carpenter faces backlash over controversial PTSD lyrics, then calls it artistic expression. Lyric lash. When self-awareness meets insensitivity, the tightrope of creativity becomes a high-wire act with an audience ready to pelt tomatoes.
Budget whiplash. When the numbers dance and the spreadsheets sing, even surplus can't silence the siren call of inevitable tax increases.
JP Morgan calls Europe interesting for avoiding tech while ignoring its own contradictions. When banks call anything interesting, it's like an arsonist admiring a fireproof house. They often forget to mention who lit the match in the first place.
Jazz legend Donald Byrd drops dominoes and the rhythm refuses to fall into line. Jazz Rebellion.
After promising transparency, Andrew Cuomo scales skyscrapers in campaign ads.
just another flawed human stumbling through his own shadows, pretending to be the hero of alternate narratives. When the savior's cape is a hand-me-down with frayed edges, the myth collapses and reveals a mere mortal struggling to stay afloat.
Halsey, Post Malone, Benson Boone, Ava Max set to perform in Saudi Arabia. When pop stars croon under authoritarian regimes, the melody of human rights fades into the background and the stage becomes a gilded cage for art.
After promising cuts, Trump targets programs Democrats cherish, delivering a familiar blow: political maneuver. When your strategy is to slice the social safety net like a cake, it's clear who's not getting a piece.
Goldman cuts Eurobanks to underweight, citing lofty prices and recent sector shifts. Financial forecast. When banks are too pricey, even for Goldman, you know the financial world's playing a high-stakes game of musical chairs with no music.
Three arrested in suspected terror plot against Belgian PM Bart de Wever. When political power meets a sinister subplot, democracy takes a hit and leaders get a harsh reminder that safety is a precarious illusion.
Denmark revives interest in Israeli air defense after drone incursions threaten airport security. Defense spending. When your skies are as open as your checkbook, you might start wondering if defense systems are the only things flying high.
Tax credits for electric cars vanish, leaving the U.S. EV industry scrambling. When the green revolution gets a kick in the batteries, expect a bumpy ride as innovation collides with the stark reality of unaffordable, eco-friendly dreams.
Monique Ryan warns Center for Disease Control remains underfunded and underspecified despite grand promises. Australian politics. Looks like the only thing spreading faster than diseases is government overpromises. Who knew world-class facilities came with a budget-class price tag?
Scientists identify brain circuit trapping users in alcohol addiction cycle, revealing a midline region's role. Addiction research. Turns out the brain's got a secret lever pulling you back to the bottle. Who knew stress management involved so much ethanol?
Sports politics.
When a comedian turned president has more backbone than a seasoned politician, it's clear who's playing the long game while others cling to outdated fears.
Blue Origin rolls New Glenn rocket for second launch. Odds of success remain unknown. New Glenn launch. When your odds of a successful launch are as clear as a Magic 8 ball, you might want to double-check your flight plan.
Patriot missiles struggle as Russian tactics evolve, exposing weaknesses. When missiles meant to defend turn into expensive fireworks, you know the military-industrial complex is having a ball, while taxpayers foot the bill.
Brain uses fatigue to protect the body, recommends light exercise for managing it. Fatigue management. Turns out your brain's just trying to get you to stretch a bit instead of stretching the truth about your gym attendance.
Judge halts Trump's plan to send National Guard to Chicago, blocking immigration crackdown strategy. Judicial intervention. When your immigration policy requires martial law, maybe it's time to rethink the whole land of the free concept.
Gold prices soar, yet first-time investors flock, defying expectations. When fear of economic collapse meets shiny metal, suddenly everyone's a pirate with a treasure map and a desperate hope for stability.
NSW police arrest 3 men en route to alleged hit near Sydney daycare, charging them with conspiracy to commit murder. Crime and consequence. When your daycare drop-off includes a side of assassination plot, it's clear criminal minds could use a bit more creative thinking.
NBA Yanks deal with Alibaba before China Games, calls it innovation. When basketball meets e-commerce, expect slam dunks in data mining and a three-point shot in targeted advertising.
Butternut Stories propose CK-chat exit and more stop-and search, claiming it secures borders. Policy overreach. When taking control means stripping rights and ramping up surveillance, you know someone's confusing a security blanket with actual security.